Welcome to the City of McAllen's Day of Remembrance for the 9/11 victims. On behalf of the McAllen Fire Department, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. I'm Rafael Valderas, Fire Chief for the City of McAllen. I'd like to begin by recognizing our special guest in attendance. We have Commissioner from District 3, Omar Quintanilla. Commissioner from District 5, Victor Sebi Haddad. City Manager Roy Rodriguez. Assistant City Manager Jeff Johnston. And our Police Chief Victor Rodriguez. Thank you for your support. Honor Guard, post colors. Please stand and join for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our invocation given by Deputy Chief Juan Gloria.
Good morning, everybody. Please bow your heads. Oh God, we remember those who lost their lives in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. In our distress, we come quickly to you because you are our hope and refuge. We are aware of the sacrifices the public servants demonstrated that day. We commit their souls to you. God of understanding, overwhelmed by the magnitude of this event, we seek your light and guidance. We are here remembering, and we are here in hope, not in ourselves, but in you. In commemorating this day, we give you thanks for your presence in our times of need. Amen.
You may be seated. At this time, I would like to have a moment of silence for our local first responders that died in the line of duty recently. EMT Felipe Huerta, Corporal Speedy Espericueta, and Trooper Moises Sanchez. Thank you. Here for our official welcome and to say a few words is Commissioner Quintanilla.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Omar Quintanilla, and I'm Commissioner of District 3 here in McAllen. On behalf of the Mayor and the City Commission, I'd like to welcome you to this ceremony. Thank you all for coming. We're here primarily to commemorate and to honor the victims of the tragedies during 9/11, those 18 years ago. Not only the men and women who died at the Twin Towers, but also the men and women on Flight 93. And so we want to commemorate and honor them, but we also want to honor our first responders here locally and thank them for serving faithfully and diligently every day to protect the people of McAllen. So I want to thank you for all that you do, and again, welcome, and thank you for being here.
I'd like to recognize the mayor who just got here. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. Thank you. Our next speaker will be City Manager Roy Rodriguez.
Good morning. Beautiful day. You know, kind of day that we had 18 years ago. You know, 9/11, September 11th of 2001, is one of those days that people that were alive and understood what was going on will never forget. You know, it's whether the stories that we hear now of World War II or of John F. Kennedy in 1963, it's that type of day. And this morning, believe it or not, I kind of always look forward to September 11th for a lot of reasons. I remember shortly after the event, the patriotism in this country. It was really amazing. Even I had a little flag coming out of my window. I think I was already driving a truck. And you would see it everywhere. And you know, those days seem to be gone. And hopefully those days will come back, because we need those days. We need to be that type of American. And so this morning I was reading the paper, and as you all probably read online or whatever, I still read the paper. And it talks about the fact that we are now seeing the generation of young adults that were not born. And so this is becoming a historical event, right? Much like we used to read at school about Pearl Harbor and so on. And so days like this and ceremonies like this, doesn't matter the size of the ceremony or the event, must continue. Because it's more than a lesson in history. It is an event that completely changed the United States and changed the world. It literally changed the way we live. And so I ask you to remember it in a very special and solemn way. I also thank all of our first responders. You know, they're always top of mind for us here in local government. But it's also a great day. You know, it's called Patriot Day for a reason. So keep that in mind, however it is that you remember this day, and make it special for you and your family. Thank you.
Here to say a few words is Chief Victor Rodriguez.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, our city staff, city manager. On behalf of the McAllen Police Department, we extend our thanks for the opportunity to speak here, Chief Valderas, this morning. This is a solemn day. It's a solemn day because we remember the tragedies that we've experienced. I choose to look at this day also as a day of celebration. Celebration of our first responders, our police officers, our firefighters, our emergency care technicians. Our memories of the events of 18 years ago will always live in our minds. For many of us, these memories are imprinted. They're imprinted in our minds forever. We vividly remember that peaceful morning that was shattered by terror. In the instant that it happened, we knew that our way of life as we knew it had changed. On that day, war came to America. Death and violence was inflicted on innocent men and women. These acts of terror were acts of war, and they were evil to the core. Some of us on that day, some of us cried, some of us felt fear, some of us felt anger, all of us felt betrayed, all of us felt violated, and for all of us today, the pain lingers. Immediately after the attack, police officers, firefighters, and first responders rose to the call of duty. They left their stations. They left their duty stations. They left their homes. And many of them never went back. Many of them never returned. Those men and women that responded in such fashion did what we celebrate today. And that is, we know that in a moment of crisis, you will run to it as opposed to from it. Among the losses that day, or those days, we lost 343 firefighters. And we lost 72 police officers. They were first responders. And I say were, but they also are, in a present tense, are today, because they are family. They are family to police officers across this country today. They remain so. They are family to firefighters across this country today because they remain so. And they are family to their own families forever. They answered a call for service that day. That was the last call they answered. On that day, these police officers and these firefighters and these first responders went out to save lives. Instead, they lost their own. We reflect because we remember. And we remember because we cannot forget. In fact, we promised that day we would never forget. To all of you that have fought this battle, and many of you fought it that day, and many of you served in a dual role. Many of you went abroad and fought the battle abroad as well. To all of you, to all of our police officers, to all of our firefighters and our first responders on this day today, and on every day, especially on this one day, we say thank you. We are thankful to you. We owe you a debt of gratitude that we cannot pay. We honor you. We honor your dedication. We honor your bravery. We honor your perseverance. And we honor your unselfish devotion to the protection of life. That wake-up call that we received 18 years ago has reminded all of us that we are one, that we are unified, that we are the United States of America, and that in God we trust. May God bless you always, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much.
Today marks the 18th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. The events of this tragic day ended with hundreds of innocent Americans murdered and hundreds more dying due to exposure to ground zero. It is up to us who witnessed it to make sure the sacrifices made on that day are never forgotten. On September 11th, 2001, at 8:46, American Airlines Flight 11 struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. 17 minutes later, at 9:03, United Airlines Flight 175 struck the South Tower. At 9:37, American Airlines Flight 77 struck the Pentagon building in Washington, D.C. At 9:59, the South Tower collapses in approximately 10 seconds. At 10:03, United Airlines Flight 93 crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And at 10:28, the North Tower collapses. In all, 2,753 people were killed in New York City, to include 343 firefighters, 23 police officers, 37 Port Authority officers, and 8 EMS personnel. At the Pentagon, 184 people died from the attack. 40 passengers and crew were killed aboard Flight 93 that went down near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Let us never forget. Here for the Remembrance Memorial is Honor Guard Commander Mark Zamora.
At this time, if you're sitting, please stand and bow your heads as we have a moment of silence for all those who lost their lives on 9/11/2001 in those horrific events. The following is a reading of the tradition of the bell in the fire service. The men and women of today's fire service are confronted with a more dangerous work environment than ever before. We are forced to continually change our strategies and tactics to accomplish our tasks. Our methods may change, but our goals remain the same as they were in the past: to save lives and to protect property, sometimes at a terrible cost. This is what we do. This is our chosen profession, and this is the tradition of the firefighter. The fire service of today is ever-changing, but is steeped in traditions 200 years old. One such tradition is the sound of the bell. In the past, as firefighters began their tour of duty, it was the bell that signaled the beginning of that day's shift. Throughout the day and night, each alarm was sounded by a bell, which summoned these brave souls to fight fires and to place their lives in jeopardy to the good of their fellow citizen. And when the fire was out and the alarm had come to an end, it was the bell that signaled to all the completion of that call. When a firefighter had died in the line of duty, paying the supreme sacrifice, it was the mournful toll of the bell that solemnly announced a comrade's passing. We utilize these traditions as symbols which reflect honor and respect on those who have given so much and who have served so well, to symbolize the devotion that these brave souls had for their duty. A special signal of 3 rings, 3 times each, represents the end of our comrades' duties and that they will be returning to quarters. And so, to those who have selflessly given their lives for the good of their fellow man, their tasks completed, their duties well done, to our comrades, their last alarm, they are going home. All uniformed personnel, attention, hut, present arms. Order! Arms!
This concludes our Remembrance Memorial. Thank you for attending.